Do not raise your hand, just take turns speaking.
Stick to the point currently under discussion. Make notes about ideas you want to come back to. Take turns speaking. Involve others in the discussion and ask them to elaborate on their responses. Discuss ideas rather than each other's opinions. You are responsible for the quality of the seminar.
Excellent. Thank you, girls. Thank you so much. So, let me point out a few things that are important. Do not talk to me. You guys are talking to each other. When you guys start doing the Socratic, everyone will unmute themselves. I'm going to sit back and mute myself. You guys are not talking to the teacher. You're talking to each other. Don't raise your hand. Take turns speaking. If one speaks one on top of the other, just take turns. No big deal. Stick to the point. Don't run off on a tangent, right? Don't deviate from what it is that you're talking about. Let's see what else. Ask each other to elaborate, to explain further, clarification, and so forth. And you guys are responsible for the seminar. Take a picture of these sentence starters. These sentence starters will help the conversation flow. Okay, so for instance, if George just gave his opinion and I agree with his opinion, I could say, I completely agree with you, George, because, or as George just said, I believe that. Now, if I disagree with George's opinion, I could say, I see what you're saying, but I really think that it's this other way, or I completely disagree with you, or I don't agree with you, and then just say because, okay? If you want to hold the floor and you're not done with your thought, you could say, may I finish my thought, please, as I was saying before, or what I was trying to say. You could ask your peers for their opinions. George, I know you said this, but what if this would happen? How would you feel then? Or do you still agree with what you're saying if this would happen? Asking for clarification, you could say, Lisa, I see what you're saying, but what do you mean when you said, or is this what you're saying? Can you explain that? Okay. Now, when a question, I know I sent you 3 preparation questions. When a question is exhausted, that you see that no one's saying anything else, then somebody in the group will volunteer and say, okay, guys, does anybody have anything to add, or can we move to the next question? Okay. Let's see what else. There will be moments of awkward silence, and that's okay. Okay, until somebody else would say something. You could say different angles about a subject by using these sentence starters, and you could express your opinions by doing this. Okay, talk to each other. Talk to each other. So here are the 3 questions that I asked you to come prepare with. Now, if you need to take a picture, you could, but you should have come prepare with this. And I ask you to come with organized notes, with research, with studies, and so forth. Okay. Now, guys, you are not married to a question, right? So if that question provoked other questions, you could definitely talk about it as long as you're still focused in the subject at hand. Like, for instance, do robots and computers really know right from wrong, or do they just copy what they've seen people do? What does this tell us about how robots understand good and bad? So here, the first thing that comes to my mind is, after I ask that question, it's like, wow, how about if robots know right from wrong? I wonder if there has been any research done on that matter. I wonder if somebody's actually tested that to see if they know the difference between right or wrong. And I would do my research on that. Okay. So you could expand based on what type of questions you get, entices you to think of. What things are you thinking of when you're reading that question? So these are the 3 questions that I asked you to come prepare with. So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes now for you guys to make sure that you are proving your opinion with research, with statistic, with studies that have been done. Okay. Any questions as to what I'm asking you to do now? So not only give your opinion, but tell me, oh, in this study that I found, they actually said that robots are now thinking. This is what happened in that study. I'm just giving you an example. But back it up with numbers, statistics, research. 5 minutes. I know most of you probably have it done already, but I just want you to make it better. Okay? And then you guys are going to start discussing. Do you think 3 minutes will be enough?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 minutes. It is 7:30, about to be 34. So at 7:37, we're going to start with a discussion. I'm only giving you 3 minutes because I know a lot of you come ready, and it's not fair for me to be wasting this time. So statistics, studies, things to back up your opinion. Now, when you're looking at the camera, I know you're ready. And when the majority of the view are looking at the camera, I'm just going to start the Socratic, okay? Okay, so now I am going to unmute myself. Remember, you are responsible for the seminar. You talk to one another, you don't talk to me. I'm going to unmute myself, and I want everyone to unmute. I'm going to mute myself, and you guys are going to unmute yourselves. Now, if a student from last year would like to just start with the first question, and remember, when one question is exhausted, somebody needs to volunteer and say, guys, does anybody have anything to add to this question, or can we move on? Okay. And remember, a question could originate so many other questions, right? Okay, so I'm going to mute myself. Who would like to start the discussion?
I just have something to ask. Could you put the questions on your screen?
And just a reminder, remember, everyone needs to come prepared with these questions. I send these in your invitation email. Okay, so I need everyone. I'm going to mute myself. Let's see, Edwin, do you want to start off with the first question so you could get this going?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to
No
mute
problem.
myself. Everyone unmute yourselves.
So,
Remember, if
well,
there are moments of awkward silence, it's okay. Somebody just has to pick it up.
okay. So I'll start with the first question about if robots are aware of the concept of right or of what is right or wrong. I did some few researches about what robots have, what are the impacts of the robots on our daily life to see if there is use of right or wrong in their functions and of idea of right or wrong. And there are 6 types of robots that are used in our daily life: safety, time saving, accessibility, surveillance, lessons loneliness, productivity, and improved operation. And well, here I can see that in all these tasks, the robots are programmed. And when I did some research about programs of robots, and they're all programs are based on learning or on learning. If a robot has a task and that he is doing a mistake in his task, he will just readapt his program to do it the right way. The objective of a robot when he has a program is to accomplish his objective with his program. And if he can't, because I don't know, I'll give you the example that I learned recently with a book of Isaac Asimov that did the laws of robotics in 1942. It was the beginning of robotics. And the robot had a problem. He had to do a task on the moon, but the problem is that he was programmed to do his task on the moon, and the problem was that he was on Earth. So he started to create problems because he was trying to do his task on Earth, but it wasn't working because he was not on the moon, he was on Earth. So the thing is that robots can commit things that are wrong based on the fact that they're not completing their task. So they will not understand the fact that they're doing right or wrong. They will understand the fact that their task isn't completed or that their task is completed. That's all for me.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree with what he said. So what you said, sorry. Generally, I would also say that robots themselves can't have a perception of right and wrong, because all they do is just what they've been programmed to do, and that is by their creators, the programmers. So what I found to be a central statement that you have to really get in mind is that the perception of right and wrong for a robot is basically the result of what is the perception of right and wrong of the programmers. So if there were multiple ones, all the ideas, their perceptions and how they see the world, basically it goes into the robot and just influences how that robot acts. But the robot itself cannot do that. For example, if we have even if it's AI and it learns by itself. So we have the artificial intelligence with a problem where it needs to decide if something is right or wrong. And it has to have some basic guidelines that were given by the programmers to do that. And if the problem, I'm too dumb to speak right now. If the problem is solved, then the AI has to evaluate if it was solved in a good or a bad way, because that is the only way it can learn. And but the way it thinks, if it's good or bad, is also with these guidelines. So if you once have guidelines, they're just gonna make themselves stronger and stronger and always agree with themselves because there's no other input. That's what I want to say.
I absolutely agree with Adrian's point, and I would like to support your opinion with a well-known case which I read about recently. So it was an AI created by Microsoft that was accidentally trained with false information. Maybe some of you heard about a bot named Tay. So this bot should actually interact with other users on Twitter and talk with them, for example, about philosophical topics. They just thought it would be fun to talk with an AI about human problems, but it came out that this bot had a very racist and fascist attitude because it read tweets from other users that and these users spread also false information and propaganda, just stuff like this. So the I didn't know that and did something wrong. It just process its task, and at the end, the creators had to shut off the account of this bot.
I mostly agree with you, and I would add, I would like to add that robots and computers know everything they say and do from what humans told them, and so they don't really have a free will. Cedric Villani, who is a searcher, a French, who is French, said that we need a body to issue opinions, give judgment independently, which can be seized by the government as well as by the citizens, and which tells us what is acceptable or not acceptable.
Okay, so I think if no one has anything to add to that, we could move on to the second question. Or are there any points? No, okay, thanks. So the second question was, if a robot does something bad, like causing an accident, who should get in trouble? The people who built the robot itself, or both? How does deciding who's responsible affect how robots are used?
Yes, so according to me, the person who created the robot should get in trouble. After all, the robot just did what he was asking to do. And of course, the robot should be destroyed or reprogrammed.
I totally agree with that. The fact is that it's not only for robots. When you follow this logic, if a product has a problem, it's not the product's fault. It's the company that built the, I don't know, the phone, the product, all the product that has a problem. So you send back the product to the company to fix that. So it's for all the products it's the case. So I don't know why it couldn't be for the robots. I don't know why it cannot be the other way. So it must be the concern of the creator and the company that built the robot too.
Yeah, so I would also agree for the most part. And I think in like 99% of cases, that is the case. It's the fault of the programmer because the basic guidelines were something wrong, and it was badly programmed. However, I think there's one exception that has to be made, and that has to be if you have a self-learning AI, machine learning. That can learn from all the inputs that people give. For example, there's a translator called Deepo, and it learns basically from, if I type something in my native language and translate it to English, and I say, okay, maybe that word is not that fitting, maybe swap it for that other word. I tell that to the translator, and he learns, and from there on, it stops suggesting what I didn't really like and suggests a different thing. And in that case, if you have such an AI, it may also be the case that the people using the AI might have introduced some sort of false information or sort of bias to the AI. I think a very funny example of this is there's like a 2-hour long YouTube video where someone basically convinces ChatGPT that 2 plus 2 is 5. It's really long, and they talk and they say, no, you're wrong, and it's that. And in the end, ChatGPT says, yes, 2 plus 2 is 5, which means that AI can also be manipulated by the users, and we have to investigate it if it's not their fault.
Of course, there's a huge part of responsibility on the user. However, in current court cases involving the Tesla autopilot, the expectation that the manufacturer, in this case Tesla, promises to the user through advertisement, etc., are also essential for judicial decisions. So if they promise that this car will drive completely driverless, and then something unexpected happens, the driver can be cannot hinder it. So he was completely surprised. Nevertheless, the driver is currently the driver is primarily seen as the liable one for the accident if he did not pay attention to the traffic when the autopilot was in function.
I would like to add that if there is an accident, for example, with any robot, it's the people who built the robot's fault, because there's a failure in the system that they created. So it can affect the technician because it would be their fault. And as a research is saying, a country could be struggling to transform its scientific advances into industrial and economic applications because the technicians and the researchers could be afraid to have like the faults on them.
Yeah, I think I really like your example that you gave with the boat and the accident on the river, because I really think that that proves my point. Because when you say the boat crashes, that could have two sources. The one that you told us, that you also said, was that the one who built the boat has built it poorly and it just fell apart. But what I said before is that also the one driving the boat might have, I don't know, drove the boat or over like a shore where it's not deep enough for the boat, and you harm the material or crashed it, in extreme case, of course, crashed it against a rock or anything like that. So therefore, I think in most cases, developer, in some special cases, the user, but never the boat itself or the robot itself. That's my opinion.
Does someone have to add to this second question?
No.
Or can we go on to the third?
I think we can go on, yes.
Yeah, we can go on.
What's the third question?
Thank you, George. Thank you so much. You guys are doing, I'm like in awe. You guys have done an amazing job. I can't imagine when we're together, like I said, that those are my plans for all of us to be together the whole entire year, how comfortable everyone is going to feel to participate. Okay, we need to move on because I know you guys have a lot to say. I am so happy. This is like music to my ears.
Yeah, okay. So George, you want to read it or should I quickly read it?
With
Oh, I was
about the,
muted.
the,
I was muted. I was muted.
the
Oh, sorry.
third question. Can we go on to the third
Wait,
question?
hold on, George.
or-
Hold on. Hold on. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So I unmuted myself. I thought I was muted. I muted again. Anyhow, I am so happy. I know you guys have a lot to say. This has been wonderful. My goal, I can't even imagine what next time Socratic seminar is going to look like. The more we are together, because those are my plans for us to stay together as a group till the end of the school year, the more comfortable the rest of you are going to feel to verbalize your opinions, right? But we need to move on. I had said all this before, by the way. I was just muted. So I just posted a question in the chat. I'm just wondering, and everybody could say something, and then we're gonna move on because I have a lot to still do and very few little time left. Do you think artificial intelligence will ever be more intelligent than humans? Unmute yourself and just say something. Let's just keep
I
it
would-
short and sweet, though.
Yeah, so I would say that really depends on how you would what you would say intelligence is, because if it comes to logical thinking, that AI is already better than any human. And if you come to things like math or physics or whatever, but there will always be some cases where just AI cannot do the job if it's not programmed to do that by human, but an AI or any program can only be as as smart as like the sum of its developers.
And an AI is really like fast learning. So when humans are trying to learn something and to say it to the word, an AI has like already understood everything and like it continues to develop.
Yes,
Uh,
I agree with you.
Yeah, continue.
Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, continue.
Okay. So I think it's basically why humans build AI. It's because they want to be more intelligent and to do things that humans can do. Honestly, I've seen a lot of fiction movie, and it scared me a little bit that maybe AI can be more intelligent than humans.
Okay, awesome, guys. Awesome. So now let's look at the difference. I won, Alba, and it's funny you mentioned that, Anna, because at the end, I'm gonna leave you guys with a question. You mentioned that it scares you at times, right? I'm gonna leave you guys with a question just for you to think about. Okay. So Anna, Alba, I want you to read automation, and Ona, I want you to read artificial intelligence.
Automation. Automation is when machines, computers, or robots do things on their own, like a robot that puts plates on jars in a food factory instead of a person doing it.
All is like teaching computers and machines to think and learn like people, so they can understand, decide, and learn from things, just like how Siri or Alexa can understand and answer your questions.
Excellent. So now you guys are going to tell me, is this automation, the first picture, or artificial intelligence? Just say it. Say it out loud.
It's automation.
Automation. The second one?
AI.
AI.
You guys could all speak in unison at the same time. The third one?
AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, both, maybe.
AI.
How about this one?
AI.
Automation.
Okay, so
yes.
automation, I heard an AI. Automation is when you put
Automation.
machines to do anything that is repetitive, that follows the same pattern, that has a consistency to it, right? That follows a routine. That will be automation. AI, there's a little thinking involved. Okay, so that would be automation. This would be
AI.
AI.
this would be
AI.
AI.
AI. This would be again
AI.
AI creates original pieces of work, whether it's in writing or in art. This repetitive
Automation.
and automation. Okay, the good news is do not be afraid. By the year 2025, 97 million new jobs will be created based on AI. Okay, so that's great news. So now what we need to do is AI is ever changing, right? So it's important to be flexible and learn new things through your career, like updating what you know and learning new skills as AI gets better, right? So now I have a small video clip that, because of time constraints, I am going to share with you. You could watch that on your own. It's AI could create more jobs than it displaces, which is a great idea for us. And it gives you an idea as to what type of jobs are going to be available. Now, there's some jobs that are always going to be available. The ones that need that human touch, right? And that human warmth, like, and the human interaction, like teachers. Yes, we're always going to be available. Nurses, you need a nurse next to you on your bedside, right? Anything in the medical field, not medical field, anything in the mental health field, right? You need an actual human there with you, sympathizing and empathizing with you. So watch that video. It's pretty interesting, and it's relevant, it's current. And also, I want you to take a picture of the assignment for today. Remember to copy and paste that in all of your courses, okay? Copy and paste it in all of your courses, and I want you to do that assignment today. And now I'm going to leave you with a question that relates to Anna's comment. Everyone took a picture? Awesome.
I have a question for the second question. The new skill is, do we have to like invent it?
No, do a little research on what are some new skills that you're going to have to develop or adapt to.
And do we have to say where it comes from, like our research?
You could, because it's mandatory live session, if you could write a little citation, you could. Otherwise, you could read it and just do a little summary. Guys, 2 or 3 sentences, no more. Okay? This is not supposed to add more work to what you already have. Okay? So briefly in your own words. This is mandatory live session. Just write a little summary, 2 to 3 sentences in your own words. And I'm going to leave you with this question following, piggybacking on Anna's comment. What scares you the most about AI? You don't have to answer it. You don't have to write it anywhere, but I want you to think about that. I know what scares me. What scares you the most about AI? Okay, guys? So nice seeing you today. Any questions before I let you go? No? Okay. See you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Everyone got the
Bye.
video? Take care. Thank you.